Well, I had a couple of people ask me about the border bill that was released yesterday. Yes, we'll get to that. Months and months of secrecy. A $120 billion bill. That's the price tag on this bill, on this legislation. Only $20 billion of which goes to secure the border. $120 billion is the price tag. Only $20 billion goes to secure the border. We're going to be getting to that a bit later. But we're going to continue with where we started. So how do you drive people into the government's ever-loving arms? How do you destroy that loyalty to their nation and to Western civilization and to common sense, frankly? Well, you just keep stacking one massive problem on top of another. You scream about class warfare. For example, you drive the country from being $5 trillion in debt in 2009 to $35 trillion in debt in 2024. That's right, we've pushed our national debt up 7 times in just 15 years. We have to pay that bill, you and I. What else do you do? Well, you open the borders and let hordes of invaders flood in that have no allegiance at all to your country, its citizens or its laws, and you give them a free pass to do anything at all. In fact, in this new border bill, it says 50,000 new green cards, more free passes. Every single illegal that comes into the country gets a work permit. And, of course, a driver's license and a voter registration card. No consequences at all for coming in illegally. And, it's still going to allow 5,000 a day. Again, we'll get back to that. And you normalize their path to citizenship. Make sure they can get that driver's license and that voter card. So they can vote for free stuff for themselves from the people that were born here or came here legally. They get to pay the bill for the illegals. You remain entangled in foreign wars that have no possible benefit to your nation or your citizens, and expand mountains of cash to fuel those reckless enterprises too, while enriching those that supply the weapons, often to both sides in the ongoing battles. The stupidity is remarkable. You cut off energy, you cut off food, you disrupt the system every single way you can with the idea that you can bring the economy crashing down along with the entire nation, because that seems to be the goal. You take control of the distribution of information to make sure that government can dictate what the masses are consuming on every conceivable topic, to make sure they're being force-fed the approved propaganda. Like climate change and pay your fair share. You do some field testing by stealing an election or two, throw out a global health scare to see how much work is left to be completed, and then gauge how compliant the population is already. And then you start targeting your political opposition, throw politicians and protesters in jail. For example, see Canada, Ukraine, and of course, Donald J. Trump. You crush the opposition in every possible way whilst controlling the message. This is a tried and true formula. You throw a little spice in along the way by mocking God and religion, and teach kids there is no higher power than government. Well, you start with the Jews and Christians. The rest will come later. Then you proclaim that government can save everyone it has conned into buying all of this disinformation, and then install an omnipresent surveillance state and eliminate a few billion hungry mouths and live in globalist utopia. There it is. But like I said, they almost had us in checkmate, but more people are voting around the world this year than ever before. And the people around the world are rejecting this garbage. They said no in Italy in 2022, no in Argentina in 23. The Germans and the French and the Canadians are all lining up to reject this globalist socialist cabal. And I'm lining up too. I have to. There is nothing else I can do but speak up for my country, put America first, and pray to God, yes, God, that we will prevail and take us back from the brink of this globalist, dystopian, AI surveillance state. We have to fight back. Oh, by the way, here's some warnings from some other folks. Former Vice President of Pfizer, Mike Yeardon, says, when the globalists tell you of their plans, you should listen. You should take them seriously. Here he is.
Unfortunately, I think this is just the beginning. So I've learned when people tell you what they're going to do, don't ignore them. So when the UN and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab tell you that they've got a UN 2030 plan, with sustainable development goals. I think there are 17 or 21 of them. And every one of them says, you won't be traveling, you won't have a private car, we won't be using international shipping to move goods around, there won't be any flights except military or perhaps very rich people. You won't own anything and you'll be happy. You probably won't live in your own house. You'll be using much less energy for everything, including heating, manufactured goods, and so on. When they tell you that, you should assume that they're serious about it. And so I think COVID has been part one of a multi-act play that's going to take 10 years that will destroy the liberal democracies completely. We've already, if you think living in a democracy, now ask yourself who you could vote for that would change this. Because I don't think there's anyone you can vote for anywhere that is guaranteed things. So I don't have an answer, but I'm telling you, I think we're sliding down through the gates of hell.
Sliding down through the gates of hell, and the World Health Organization pushing awfully hard to neutralize the U.S. Constitution as well. Here's your last example. Listen.
So we need you to raise your voices, to tell your leaders that you want this agreement, you want this accord. It's your future. And we need you to raise your voices to counter the lies that are undermining the agreement on social media, in conversations with your friends and families, and in any other way. We cannot allow this historic agreement, this milestone in global health, to be sabotaged by those who spread lies, either deliberately or unknowingly. Because ultimately, the pandemic agreement is about you, your world, and your future.
No, it's about my future, all right, which is why I stand here and tell you the truth every single day. God bless America. We will fight back, and I'll be back after this.